Arkansas. On each side is a picturesque mountain, one to the east and one to the west. The name of my log house is Echota, which in Cherokee means contentment. Over the front door there is an inscription, "God bless this house and all who enter." And of course, this applies to each one of you. Along beside Echota there is a country road leading off of a state highway, winding back into a verdant valley. Beauty breaks everywhere. A profusion of wild flowers, the dogwood and redbud, the squirrels at play, the whippoorwill, the quail, the wild turkey, and the clear springs where the deer come down to drink. Solitude is embraced, peace is mine, and love for all creation. If there's no sun, I still can have the moon. If there's no moon, the stars my needs suffice. And if these fail, I have my evening lamp, or lampless, there's my trusty tallow dip. And if the dip goes out, my couch remains, where I may sleep and dream there's light again. When we have borne sleep some dreadful sorrow, it is then we see the golden ladder extending upward, as did Perpetua from the darkness of the dungeon. When we have given ourselves to some great work and wrought it by God's help and the inspiration of His Spirit, triumphantly to the end, that the vision of heaven is granted us, let us be content with what we have, the place we have in life. Let us get rid of our false estimates. Throw down the God money from its pedestal and trample the senseless idol underfoot. A neat home, vines of our own planting, a few books full of the inspiration of genius, a few friends worthy of being loved and able to love us in return, 100 innocent pleasures that bring no pain nor remorse, a devotion to the right that will never swerve, a simple religion empty of all bigotry, full of hope and trust and love. And to such a philosophy this world will give up all the joy it has. I hope I may be able to say, as Admiral Foote on his deathbed in the Astor House in New York, his dying words were, "God has been good to me." And as Victor Hugo said, "When I go to the grave, I can say, as others have said, my day's work, but I cannot say my life is done. My day's work will recommence the next morning. The tomb is not a blind alley, it is a thoroughfare. It closes upon the twilight, but opens upon the dawn. I bid you goodbye with this old Irish toast. The best of luck before you, the worst of luck behind you, and the grace of God guide you.
I have asked Miss Smullen to tell us something of the Cherokee Alphabet and its inventor.
The unveiling of the statue of Sequoyah in Statuary Hall, Washington, D.C., took place June the 6th, 1917. 3 members of Congress from our state giving addresses were of Indian blood. The Honorable Charles D. Carter, chairman of the proceedings, W. W. Hastings, and T. R. Chandler. An address was given by the Honorable Robert L. Owen, United States Senator, and one by Houston Benj Teehee, Registrar of the United States Treasury, both gentlemen of Cherokee blood. The Cherokee alphabet consists of 86 symbols, and it is so simple that a child can learn to read and write in a day. It is a strange thing that in all the world there is no alphabet that reaches the dignity, simplicity, and value as does this alphabet. It was such an intellectual accomplishment that Canon Kingsley named the great red cedars of California, which towered 400 feet in the air and 25 feet at the base, the Sequoiahs, because they were typical of the greatest North American Indian. Sequoyah was indeed a child of the forest. The great outdoors was the playground and storehouse for his inspiration. And as his biographer Foster said, the first music that greeted this Indian child was a sighing of the forest, the musical rustle of the leaves, and the song of nature, which he loved through life, and which seems to have been the inspiration of his genius and the key to his grand achievement. This honored son was a Native American of the first rank, a man distinguished by the chief of all virtues, an earnest desire to serve his fellow men. As you know, a bill has been introduced in Congress by the Honorable Ed Edmondson to restore the old Cherokee Capitol building, built in 1871, and make it a national shrine. There are 2 remaining buildings of the old Cherokee nation. The Cherokee Advocate, built in 1844. It was in this building that the Cherokee Advocate newspaper was printed, the only newspaper ever printed in an American Indian language. And then there is the old National Jail where the gallows were. That old jail has a big place in my heart because there was so much honor, sentiment, and pathos attached to it. The moral integrity of an Indian is well extolled, and his fidelity in keeping a promise merits the highest praise. In territorial days, those that violated the law which demanded the death penalty were seldom confined in jail. They were sentenced and told to report back. They would come in the night before or in the early morning of their days set for their executions, always on Friday, the day of Christ's crucifixion. While Father was serving as medical superintendent of the Cherokee nation, it was his duty when a Cherokee was hung to pronounce him dead. This is a story he told us. A full-blood Cherokee was convicted of a felony, told, "Go home, get your crop in, so your wife and 8 children will have something to live on. Report back certain date, and at 9 a.m. you will be hung." He was a little late leaving home that ill-fated morning after saying farewell to his family. This true American, the benighted Indian, walked to the river's edge, knelt, reached down, threw cold water upon his face. He stood erect before the advancing dawn, and with tear-dimmed eyes gazed longingly at the morning sun. In order to be there at the appointed time, he ran his favorite pony too hard. This little horse fell dead by the Capitol Square, a block from the National Jail where the gallows were. On foot he ran. He was there on time. And at 9 a.m. hanged. I'm very sorry to say that Tahlequah does not have a youth center. And our plan is to convert this old building into a religious and recreational center for the young people of Cherokee County. The building of the youth, physically and morally, is of vital importance. And to me, it is the paramount issue. Not long ago, I read a poem which I think is quite apropos, The Builder by Drumgoole. An old man traveling a lone highway came at evening, cold and gray, to a chasm, vast and deep and wide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream held no fear for him. But he paused when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "well, you're wasting your strength in building here. Your journey will end with the passing day, but you never again will come this way. You crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you a bridge at eventide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. "Good friend, in the path I have come," he said, "there followeth after me today a youth whose feet will come this way. This chasm that has been as naught to me, to this fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge for him."
As a lover of poetry, I'm now going to ask Miss Smullen to recite some of her favorites.
Invictus by William Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this veil of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds me and will find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. A few verses from Eternal Goodness by Whittier. And so beside the silent sea I wait the muffled oar. No harm from him can come to me on ocean or on shore. I know not where his islands lift their fronded ferns in air. I only know I cannot drift beyond his love and care. And thou, O Lord, by whom are seen thy creatures as they be, forgive me if too close I lean my human heart on thee. Waiting by boroughs, serene I fold my hands and wait, nor care for wind, nor tide, nor sea. I rave no more against time or fate, for lo, my own shall come to me. I stay my haste, I make delays. For what avails this eager pace? I stand amid the eternal ways, and what is mine will know my face. Asleep, awake, but night or day, the friends I seek are seeking me. No wind shall blow my bark astray, or change the tide of destiny. What matter if I stand alone? I wait with joy the coming years. My heart shall reap where it has sown, and garner up its fruit of tears. The waters know their own, and draw the brook that springs in yonder height. So flows the good with equal law unto the soul of pure delight. The stars come nightly to the sky, the tidal wave unto the sea. Nor time, nor space, nor deep, nor high can keep my own away from me. The Day is Done by Longfellow. The day is done, and the darkness falls from the wings of night as a feather is wafted downward from an eagle in his flight. I see the lights of the village gleam through the rain and the mist, and a feeling of sadness comes o'er me that my soul cannot resist. A feeling of sadness and longing that is not akin to pain, and resembles sorrow only as the mist resembles the rain. Come, read to me some poem, some simple and heartfelt lay, that shall soothe this restless feeling and banish the thoughts of day. Not from the grand old masters, not from the bards sublime, whose distant footsteps echo through the corridors of time. For like strains of martial music, their mighty thoughts suggest life's endless toil and endeavor, and tonight I long for rest. Read from some humbler poet, whose songs gush from his heart as showers from the clouds of summer, or tears from the eyelids start. Who through long days of labor and nights devoid of ease still heard in his soul the music of wonderful melodies. Such songs have power to quiet the restless pulse of care, and come like the benediction that follows after prayer. Then read from the treasured volume the poem of thy choice, and lend to the rhyme of the poet the beauty of thy voice. And the night shall be filled with music, and the cares that infest the day shall fold their tents like the Arabs, and as silently steal away. So live, that when thy summons come to join that innumerable caravan which moves to that mysterious realm where each shall take his chamber in the silent halls of night, thou go not like a quarry slave scourged to his dungeon, but soothed and sustained by an unfaltering trust, approach thy grave like one who wraps the draperies of his couch about him and lies down to pleasant dreams. Crossing the Bar by Alfred Tennyson. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Deep and wide, why build you a bridge at eventide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet will come this way. This chasm that has been as naught to me, to this fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge for him. Solid cube, it'd be about the size of an 8-room house. If a man got possession of all that gold, billions of dollars worth, he could not buy a friend, character, peace of mind, clear conscience, or a sense of the eternity. When we have borne submissively some dreadful sorrow, it is then we see the golden ladder extending upward, as did Perpetua from the darkness of the dungeon. When we have given ourselves to some great work and wrought it by God's help and the inspiration of His Spirit, triumphantly to the end, that the vision of heaven is granted. Let us be content with what we have, the place we have in life. Let us get rid of our false estimates, throw down the God money from its pedestal, and trample the senseless idol underfoot. A neat home, vines of our own planting, a few books full of the inspiration of genius, a few friends worthy of being loved and able to love us in return, 100 innocent pleasures that bring no pain nor remorse, a devotion to the right that will never swerve.
Then we see the golden ladder extending upward, as did Perpetua from the darkness of the dungeon. When we have given ourselves to some great work and wrought it by God's help and the inspiration of His Spirit, triumphantly to the end, that the vision of heaven is granted. Let us be content with what we have. The praise